Up early, up early, up early. Up early, man, up early. Trying to figure this thing out real quick. I'm gonna fuck around for a little bit. But I want to get into this conversation. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm see what's going on right quick. Mm, that's what I want right there. Okay, okay. See if see if I can hear. Yo, yo, yo. All right. Got a little sound. Got a little sound. Got a little sound. Got a little sound. All right, man. I got a couple people on here real quick. Guess I'm gonna talk to y'all too until we get try to get something going. Basically, clip this shit up and get to it. I'm gonna get my perspective on this dating shit. First of all, like I was looking at this shit earlier. I was thinking about it, putting this shit together. Like every when do you get to a point in some of these things, some of these conversations where it's actually a conversation, right? When do we make this shit an actual conversation and not a debate? Because how do a perspective about dating become a debate between men and women, right? It makes sense to me that it's a debate with men and men, right? It makes sense that it be a debate with women and women, but it don't really make sense that it'd be a debate between men and women because it's kind of like you looking to come to like a middle ground, even in a conversation, right? You're looking to come to a middle ground. You're looking to come to an understanding. You might feel like a person wrong for this, or you might feel like a person wrong for that, but ultimately, you're looking for like a common ground. You're looking for a common ground. So this is like the second conversation we had with like all the women on the panel, but we can't come to a common ground. I think that's a bad thing. I think that's a bad thing. Like I think that's a bad look. It's a bad look. If you got black men and black women all on the stage together talking about dating, right? You got black men and you got black women on the stage together and y'all talking about dating, but you can't come to a common ground to say, yo, this is this will work or that'll work. Let's look at this and let's look at that. Oh, this what niggas really be on, huh? You know what I mean? Like, all right, if that's what y'all be on, how can we deal with that, right? Or if men saying, yo, this what females really be on, how can we deal with that? How are we arguing in these conversations? This is where I'm lost there, right? We arguing and we debating and we not having a conversation and like putting a message out there saying like, yo, let's look at this, right? If we saying like if man say like right out the gate when we meet a female, we looking at the attraction, we looking at the sexual attraction, right? This it's just a common thing. It ain't no crazy thing. It ain't no negative thing. It ain't no major thing. It's just a thing, right? And it's a thing that we already know. We like, for me, I'm 46 years into this shit that it's already been established, probably 46 years, 50 years before I even got into it, right? All these relationships starts with lust, right? But you don't have to give it up. You don't have to automatically just drop your drawers type shit, right? You don't have to automatically just put yourself in a situation where you looking like a fool or you feeling like a fool, right? because the game is already set up. The game is already set up. We already know the game, but we're not coming to a solid conclusion because we're not accepting that the game is already the game. So we playing a blame game, right? Because we losing in this shit, right? It ain't just females that's losing in this shit, right? It's men that's losing, it's females that's losing, right? But if we can't like come to a conclusion, if we can't sit down like black men, black women, they don't even really matter the race, right? If we can't sit down as men and women and actually have a conversation, like look at life on the outside world, right? It's cool, it's a podcast. It makes sense, right? It's a podcast, right? It makes sense. Everybody got their opinions. But in some moments when you're dealing with this life shit, the real shit, right? You got to be able to put your emotions up because you're talking to other people right now, right? If we on the screen and we going back and forth, we talking to each other, but ultimately we talking to other people, right? We put out a clip that motherfucker get 30,000 views. We put out a clip that motherfucker get 10,000 views. We put out a clip that motherfucker get 5,000. That motherfucker get 1,000. That motherfucker get 2,000. You got to think 2,000 views, 30,000 views, 10,000 views. All these people is listening to us have a conversation. Now we in the hole. My homie T had told me, like, Tony Ron, you putting yourself in that journalist bag, bro. You got to start doing this shit. You got to do that. You got to get on your journalist shit, right? So you got to talk to the people. You got to talk to the people. You got to talk to everybody. I ain't just talking to the hood. I ain't just talking to the ghetto. I'm talking out loud to the people that's listening, right? To anybody that's sitting back and listening to me, I'm telling them the truth, right? So when I'm saying that, what I'm trying to get to is we got to all be able to tell the truth so that people can hear us in a solid way. I don't think like this the platform for the feminist shit. I don't think it's the platform for the male chauvinist shit. I think this the platform to say the real shit, because the real shit need to be said. We can't we can't live in like a nigga being scorned. You a man, you've been scorned, so you can't deal with the reality of life, right? You can't deal with you can't mix up, you can't change up, you can't fix your program, you can't rebuild your program. You know what I mean? You can't do none of these things. You just gotta stay stuck. Man, that's crazy, right? I ain't staying stuck in shit because I'm always on the go. Let's talk about the dating shit, right? Coming into this shit, one thing that I know, right? I don't give a fuck about what you got. I don't give a fuck about what you feel like you can do for me. I don't give a fuck about what you feel like I should be doing for you. All I know is when if we going through this dating process, the only thing you getting from me is me. If you don't like me, then I got to move on, right? But all I'm asking you for is you. I ain't asking you to try to convince me that you're going to do these things for me or you're going to do those things for me, because the reality is it's a million women that's going to, if I ask the question of what a woman can do for me, a lot of times they all going to answer the question the exact same way, right? If you ask, if you're a female and you asking a man, yo, what can a man do for you? Well, what can a man do for you? More than likely, the man going to answer the question the exact same way, right? But the thing about it is, we're not looking for somebody to be a mom. You know what I mean? We're not looking to be a dad. We're looking for, I can't say we, right? I'm looking for a partner. And I said this, right? But I said it last Monday. But I'm looking for a partner, right? A partner. And I'm looking for a person that I can deem my, you don't decide, like nobody, no female that I'm talking to or dealing with don't decide what's good for me or what's best for me or what I should want. Oh, I'll do this. And I don't give a fuck what you would do. I got to want it from you. Because a lot of females, they walk into traps, right? A lot of women walk into traps, right? Because they offer us shit that we don't really want from them. It's a lot of females out here, they pay for niggas. Let's keep this shit 100, right? It's a lot of women that pay for niggas. They pay for the men in their lives, right? They pay for men to act a certain way. They pay for men to stay in this place, right? They pay for men to do this and to do that. And they put on like this show and they put on this idea that, you know what I mean? If I'm doing this like this and if I'm doing that like that, then I'm this and then I'm that. That's absolutely fine for y'all women, right? There's a lot of women that do things like they decide like, yo, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And you should be grateful. No, the fuck I shouldn't. Because if I didn't ask you for it, and if I don't want it from you, hey, listen, you doing that shit at your own risk. Because I'm not asking you for it. And I don't want it from you. Not saying that I won't, that is not more valuable coming from the woman that I actually want it from. So if we going through the dating process, right? The dating conversation, you know what I mean? Just meeting somebody. Stop trying to put all this bullshit on the floor that I'm not asking for you to put on the floor, because I'm not putting none of this shit on the floor. I'm just trying to get to know the person that's in front of me and find out and decide if the person in front of me is the person that I actually want to move to the next step with. I'm gonna find out everything as we go. The problem is we're not getting that opportunity, and we're not getting the opportunity to say that shit sometimes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times in these, I see a lot of like podcasts and shit where people talk about these things, and nobody ever actually get to the point where they can say, like, where you can have a real conversation, where you can actually tell a woman, like, yo, it don't mean shit to me because you think you're this person. It don't mean shit to me that you feel like if you give me these things that I should be deserving, right? How many relationships? I see a lot of, I talk to a lot of people. So I see a lot of shit. And a lot of people be in relationships, and a lot of people be like, yo, I gave myself to this nigga and I changed for this nigga, and this nigga ungrateful. But you can't call a nigga ungrateful because you changed, because you made changes that a nigga didn't want you to make, or you didn't want to make. But why not stop her from doing anything for you if you don't want her doing it? Because sometimes it don't really matter. Sometimes if so for the females that you want to do it, you appreciate it. But sometimes you can push that shit off, and the female keep trying to give it because she's trying to like get into your good grace. Sometimes because I'm not saying that I'm not stopping it, right? I'm not saying that a man not stopping it. I'm saying that she keep offering it. She keep offering it because she think this can buy you. She think that if she move in a certain way that you're falling, that it's going to make you more attractive to her, because she's not really listening. She just playing her own game, right? She playing her own game, and she moving in a way because she trying to pull in this relationship to make it work, because she want this relationship to work. But it ain't no relationship. It ain't no relationship. So if you're doing things that a nigga pushing away and that a nigga don't want, and a nigga pushing you off, it's because it's different when you do something for a nigga and a nigga appreciate it and a nigga happy for it, and a nigga say, man, I appreciate that, man. That's some real shit. That's dope as hell. Because the same way this one woman can offer it, a man could push it away. The same way another woman can offer the exact same thing, and a man welcome it. Now, if it's getting pushed away and then you still trying to offer it, you can't be mad when a motherfucker just take that shit and then, you know, move you on around. Because if he just move you around, in some situations, right, when you can be, so just say, I'm just going to say me, right? I'm going to say me. Sometimes you could be brutally honest to a person to a point where you just tell a motherfucker, nah, I'm cool. I ain't really got time for that shit. I ain't on that shit. I ain't moving in that direction at all. And some females can be turned on by that shit. Like, no, like, if I ain't answering my motherfucking phone, or if I ain't answering my text, and I'm not being rude, I'm not being disrespectful, but if you can see a clear window where it's saying like, he ain't really on that shit, but you keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep pushing, like you damn near pushing yourself into a fucked up situation, then it's his fault, right? Then so many times we get into these situations where you get into a relationship, right? And you start telling the person, right? And it go two ways, right? It's a man talking to a woman, it's a woman talking to a man, and you telling the man or you telling the woman, like, this is what I want for my life. You know what I mean? This is what I want in my wife. This is what I want in my lady. You know what I mean? And she's saying this to a nigga. This is what I want in my man. This is what I want in my dude. So the other person is jumping into this program of trying to give you what you want. You know what I mean? They're trying to give you what you want. They're trying to appease you. They're trying to make you feel good. You know what I mean? But this is not really them. They just trying to appease you. They're trying to make you feel the way that you need to feel because they want this relationship. You know what I mean? They want this program to work out. You know what I mean? For them. She wanted to work for her. He wanted to work for him. So they doing all these things, but these not even things that they want to do. So somewhere down the line, it's like, all right, I'm tired of doing this shit. This shit ain't me. I'm unhappy and this nigga ungrateful. Wait a minute. Right? This woman, this female, she ungrateful because I'm doing all these things and I'm acting like this and I'm acting like, wait a minute. Because you made the choice to live in a falsehood to try to prove something to somebody that really don't want to be bothered with the real you. Because then when the real you come out and a motherfucker see your real face, a motherfucker hear your real feelings, a motherfucker hear your real ideas, and a motherfucker like, man, who the fuck are you? And a motherfucker don't want you. So now you got a whole fucked up relationship because you tired of lying. So basically what I'm saying, like, because we can't really have a solid conversation, right? Basically what I'm saying is, if you can't have a solid conversation where you can't just be true, right? Because it's hard as fuck when you 40 years old and plus, right? Let's be realistic. Like it's so many different levels to what a woman might be going through with her body, right? It's so many levels to what a man might be going through with his body. And not only his body, but it's so many levels to what a motherfucker can be going through mentally, or what a female can be going through mentally. You know what I mean? And motherfucker be grasping for straws trying to figure out their own life, because being alone is cool. Every now and then being alone is cool, but sometimes it's miserable as fuck. Sometimes when you get so old and you going, that's a fact. That's a fact. If the program ain't genuine off top, I don't want it, because I ain't faking it for nobody. That's a fact. That's a fact. I agree. Tansy Jones says every relationship is give and take. You are not going to be in a relationship and there's no changes, whether it's personality or actions. You do have to accept people for who they are, but you will have to tweak it. Tweaking something and changing something, I think, is different. I think it's a different conversation. I think tweaking something and changing something is because, and a lot of times, for me personally, when I come up, if I'm coming across a woman and I really like her the way she is, I don't want to change her. I don't want her to never change. Like, people grow. I do feel like people grow into different shit. I do feel like we grow into different people, and we do grow into adults. But we don't really change on our mission when we grow into adults. We just tweak our decisions a little bit. We get a little bit more control over our decision-making process, but we don't become different people, is what I'm saying. If your changes is becoming a different person, I think that could be detrimental to your relationship, because if you changing into somebody different and your partner ain't changing to somebody different, and if you got time, I want you to answer this, right? If you changing into somebody different and your partner not changing into somebody different, then what do? Do you leave your partner because they not making the changes that you're making, even though they're completely comfortable with you as the way you are, and they're completely comfortable with themselves the way they are? But if you're changing into something else and they not changing to something else, what do you do in that situation? Tracy, I'd like to know that, if you know what I mean. You got time. Now, if the program ain't genuine off top, I don't want it, because I ain't faking it for nobody. I 100% agree with that, right? And here's the thing about this dating shit too, because I'm just gonna talk about it, right? Most people past 40 already have a certain program. They already got a program. The woman got a program, the man got a program, right? If you got kids, the kids are part of your program. You got to protect your program, right? If you got a job, your job is a part of your program. You got to protect your program, right? If you got your own home, or if you got your own apartment, if you got your own car, all of these things are part of your program, right? Man and woman, right? Man and woman. So you got to deal with, how do you deal with coming into a situation where, if you don't want to change your program, but you want to go into another program, it's almost like, so the programs have to connect. The programs have to connect, right? You got to be able to insert your program into my program, because I'm not looking to change my program. 9 times out of 10, if you already got your program set up, you're not looking to change your program. So the programs got to connect. You know what I mean? They have to connect. You know what I mean? And that's a thing also. Most programs don't connect. Most programs, they don't always connect. So all you can do coming into the situation is be solid, and then, like, you trying to form something with somebody, and you don't really know if that shit can actually work because of the programs, right? The other people that's involved, the family members. that's involved. You know what I mean? So we got to make this shit align. The programs have to align. That's a fact. You got to make them align. Yes, you want to be yourself at all time, but it's not really changing yourself. It's growing in your relationship. I think growing and changing is different, though. I think growing and changing is different. I think growing in your relationship. I guess when I hear the word change, change to me mean like you going into like another place. That's what it always meant to me. Changing always meant you going into another place. Like you go, if you hustling in the streets, you know what I mean, through most of your life, and then you make a change to get out the streets. I feel like it's a when I hear the word change, I feel like you're doing like a full like 180 into something else. You know what I mean? And you're going into another place in your life. So when I hear changing versus growing, I guess it's two different conversations for me. So the programs have to align. I absolutely agree with that. I think the programs have to align for sure. But it's hard making the programs align. I think that's tough as fuck too. Making the programs align, I think that's tough. I think it's hard. I think sometimes when you dating over 40, you got to be able to appreciate moments with a person. But if all we doing is fighting about this shit and fighting about that shit, and we making judgment calls about other people because of what they want, like if you come across a man, a man, right? So as soon as you come across like this man and you dealing with this man, all you getting is what he got, and all he chasing is what he want. All you gonna get from him is what he got, and all he chasing is what he want, whether you give it to him or not. If you don't give it to him, he gonna chase it more because he gonna want it more. In that process of him chasing it more, he gonna learn about your program, right? Because you're gonna teach him, right? If you do too much too soon, then he don't have to go too deep into the program and finding out about your program. But if you actually make him like chase the shit more, then when he come into trying to get what he trying to get on his own terms, then he gonna learn about your program. This what's going on. That's what's going on. Oh, you're gonna find out if she dope. You're gonna find out if she full of shit. You're gonna find out if this shit can work, and you're gonna find out if this shit can't work sometimes before you even, get the vitamin P. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. Even if you're building a business, for instance, you will have to do things that was not in your program to succeed in the business. Changing is sometimes for the better. Mm, sometimes, but sometimes in this business shit, I feel like you can't always afford to change because that level of consistency is needed to actually build the business, right? Most businesses are being built. The consistency is the most important thing, the most important part about the business, right? The consistency. You can't afford to really change sometimes. If you're in a relationship, one of the most important things in a relationship, y'all say it a million times, you know what I mean? It's consistency. Because you want to know that the person that you're dealing with is who they say they is, right? You want to know that the way they move, the things they do, the way they talk, the way they feel, you want to know that they them. You want to know that they solid. If I'm doing too much changing throughout this process, then can you say I'm solid? I think the change come, but when the change come, I mean, it got to be. It's still the changes got to align. I think, right? The changes got to align because we ain't just going into this shit like, oh, ain't nobody just changing because sometimes life be good, sometimes life be great. You know what I mean? Sometimes you could be in a situation where you could be living your best life. You could be doing everything that you need to be doing. You could have your wife over there. Your wife could like actually not like the way that you live it, type shit, right? You 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 could be like in the glow of your fucking life, like past 40, you got a lady, you married, your business is booming, all your friends is intact, your family is intact, your kids is in order, you know what I mean? Everything is in order, and you living your best life, happy than a motherfucker, doing everything that you want to do. And shit, your lady could be unhappy with that, right? As a woman, you could be at the high point of your life, you could be at the high point of your career, and everything could be working. In your vision, the way you see things, everything is going perfectly fine, and you in the best place of your life, and this nigga ain't happy with that. And this nigga is making changes over here, and he doing different things, and he trying to convince you that you should be changing too. No, nigga, what I'm changing for? I'm happy. Why would I change from being happy to being what you want me to be type shit? When two people are in the process of getting to know each other and moving forward, it's not trying to change the program, but it can be adjusted for the both of us. Yeah, yeah. But mm, that's a tough thing because you got two programs. Because you got two programs and you got to make the adjustments. I think you know what I mean. You got to make the you got to make the adjustments. You definitely got to make the adjustments and see. So I'm not necessarily with like changing the program. I think the program's got to align because I don't want to change nothing, man. Like if I meet a female and she's like the perfect female, I don't want to change it. I don't want to change her motherfucking program. I don't want to change the way her situation is. I want her to maintain whatever happiness that you built on your own terms. I want you to keep that shit. I just want you to keep it. I want you to keep it. I want to be able to. I want to be able to bring whatever I got going on, and that shit can align in a way where everything that you got going on can continue to go on, and you can continue to be you. That makes you the best person you could be for me. That makes the shit better, right? I know we get to this question and we talk about sex, and a lot of y'all women, y'all like get frustrated because niggas is like creatures when it comes down to sex, but shit, that shit is what it is. I think when you fucking with a happy woman, the sex is happy too. Shit, the sex is better. It's a plus. I ain't trying to change no motherfucker. So in my reality in this world, I'm trying to find out everything I could find out. We was having a conversation last night and they were saying, yo, what you want, what you want, what you want. I don't know what the fuck I want. I want the woman I want, right? And when I meet that woman, I want her to be her. I want her to like sometimes like you got to be self-aware to a point where you can understand like we don't always know what we want. We be telling ourselves these lies, man, and we be telling everybody else these lies, but we don't always know what we want. We got an idea of what will work. But how the fuck can you say you want some shit that you ain't never had and know for 100% fact that if you get that, you're going to be happy with it? How is that even a real thing? If somebody can answer that, answer it for me. But how can you say for 100% fact, this is what I want, even though you know you ain't never had it? I think that's kind of like some bullshit. I think that's like that's some send-off shit. You know what I mean? Because now you in a relationship telling a nigga to be some shit that a nigga can't even be because this is your story that you imagine, right? This when you say when a woman say and a man, right? I'm just gonna keep this shit on the balance, right? When a man saying he know what he want, how the fuck you know what you want if you ain't never had it, bro? You got this idea that's set up in your head that says, yo, this is what I want from a woman. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. I don't even think that's being realistic. I don't think that's being realistic. A woman saying, yo, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. I don't think it's being realistic. Because then when you meet a person and they show you that, nah, you think you want that shit. Because it's too easy to come into a situation and you meet a person and you be happy with a person and you really rocking with this person or whatever, and you going through whatever you going through with this person and y'all got a real vibe going on, and this person ain't offering shit that you want. This person has got a whole nother fucking program and you loving this shit. You loving it. This person got a whole nother program. You loving this program, right? This person is loving your program. Now you finna leave this person or not be involved with this person because you finna go back and be alone and deal with this idea that you got in your brain that's not really realistic. It's just something you created in your head. That sounds crazy. That shit sound crazy as fuck. So no, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what the fuck I want. Because when you find that certain female and she hit those spots and she's saying she move a certain way, she carry herself a certain way, and you like falling in love with that shit, right? If you falling in love with that shit, how can you actually say what you want? One of the things I think about being self-aware is understanding that you really don't know every motherfucking thing that you know, that everything that's going on in your head is not the right shit. Like every direction that you point in is not the right fucking direction. It's not always a real thing. So then you got to accept the responsibility and take accountability. Man, I might have been wrong. I might have been wrong. Because then people give out the advice. So a part of what I do, right? This shit that I do when I do the podcast and when I be talking, I can speak for myself, right? I just be trying to get some true shit out there, some real honest shit. Like, because if you can get some true shit out there, some real honest shit, right? I don't date with intentions. I don't. I don't date with intentions. And I think people who date with intentions like fuck up the motherfucking the dating pool for themselves. And then all they do is go around and complain about all the people that hurt them and all the people that did them wrong while they was on a mission of attention looking for all this shit. And then people don't even accept the responsibility for the people that they hurt on their mission with intention. Because a person, you meet a person, and I guess I could possibly fall into this situation, right? You meet a person with your intentions and you're not really expressing your intentions or really putting your intentions on them. And that person is like fall in love with you as a person, but you don't fuck with that person because this person is not meeting your requirements, but you hanging on, right? You hanging on. You still going through all of this bullshit. You still going through this and you still going through that, but you looking for something specific. You're looking for something specific. Some people, a lot of times you get into relationships with women, and I can say this, right? You get into relationships with women and women fall in love with the potential that you might have. And then you don't reach the potential type shit. So now you got to deal with being the nigga that fucked over somebody who you never really fucked over. This person just fell in love with who she thought you can become type shit. I could make this nigga this shit. You know what I mean? I can teach him this. You know what I mean? I could teach him that. I could turn my jack to a king type shit, right? Do we really know? And should we really be attacking somebody because they don't know? Why continue to let that person come around you? That's a good question. That's an absolute good question. It's an absolute good question. I just don't know the answer, right? I just don't know the answer because it happened in so many ways with so many different people. A lot of people don't push people away. A lot of people don't push people away. A lot of people let people drag themselves, right? I'm completely honest. So if you keep coming around me and I keep telling you not to, right? If you keep calling me and I'm not answering the phone for you, but you keep calling, but you keep calling, but you keep calling, but you keep calling, it's kind of like, right? You just, I don't know, because I don't know how that shit work really. It's one of those things where people do it to people all the time. You know what I mean? If you might not be one of those people that do it to people, but people do that shit to people all the time. A motherfucker will drag you because they don't want to be alone. I guess that's a good answer, right? A motherfucker will drag you into their shit because they just don't want to be alone, right? A motherfucker will drag you into their shit because of a financial benefit that they might get from you. You know what I mean? They'll drag you because the things that they want from you, you're willing to give. One of the things we got to remember is we live in the world. We live in the real world, actually, right? And in the real world, you got pimps. In the real world, you got motherfucking thieves. In the real world, you got con artists. In the real world, when you're dealing with this relationship shit, you can't, this dating shit, you can't forget that all of these people exist, right? You can't forget that on any day, you can run into a complete fucking savage. You can run into a complete savage, right? And realistically, coming from where I come from, I think the playing field is even, right? So a lot of people say it's men are the worst, or some people might say females are the worst. But I think, you know, where I come from, I think the playing field even. I think you can get a savage anytime, any day. I think you can get a savage anytime, any day. I think you could just randomly, as a man, you could meet a female and you could like her and you could think she cool as fuck and she could be a complete savage. You don't know what she up to. I think as a woman, you can get up and you can meet somebody and you could be moving around and that person could be a complete savage anytime, any day. So you know what I mean? I think that'd be one of the reasons why somebody will let you continue to come around them. You know what I mean? Because they don't really give a fuck how that shit play out anyway. A lot of people get hurt in these situations. Men get hurt, women get hurt because motherfuckers just let shit play out on the terms that they play out. And sometimes people be honest. I think what I'm learning about myself is being honest to some females is like it's attractive even when your honesty is like pushing the motherfucker away or just letting or not just really putting the motherfucker on the pedestal and treating the motherfucker like they want to be treated. You're not even doing it, but you being honest. So like A motherfucker fall in love with your honesty, even if it don't work in their favor. Even if it don't work in a relationship, motherfucker fall in love with that shit and tell themselves, you know what I mean? I could make this nigga be who I want him to be. I could make this nigga feel how I want him to feel. And again, it's the same thing on the other side with women. So if we trying to have like a solid conversation about dating, can we actually have a conversation about dating? Can we actually have a conversation about, you know what I mean, just actually getting to know a person and finding out if that person is savage? Can we have a conversation about how long are you willing to wait? Are you willing to wait? Do you actually want to wait? Because when you have sex and when you don't have sex, I think that's a you thing. That's your business, right? So what are you willing to give, and what are you willing to offer to actually deal with this motherfucking dating process in a solid way? Are we just gonna sit here, you know what I mean, and just like be on some forcing ourselves into a relationship with somebody who we really don't know? Or is we finna work this motherfucking thing until we figure out who this person is and if we want this person, right? If we want to be in this relationship, do we want the friendship? You know what I mean? Do we want the motherfucking whatever we can get out of this situation? We get to decide if we want it or not by being honest and by being solid. Because sometimes, like, Shay had put up a post the other day, and her post was talking about companionships versus relationships, right? And that was kind of some real shit, because when I went back and I looked up the definition of companionship was more sexier than a relationship after 40 years old, if we're being honest. Because a companionship is like a friendship. You know what I mean? It's like something that don't never end. You know what I mean? You got somebody who you can call whenever you want to call them. You know what I mean? You got somebody that's gonna call you. You got people that really like rock with you on a regular basis, like with nothing holding you, no strings, no strings attached to you. You know what I mean? No nothing. Like your programs automatically aligned, because you're not going to get in the way of that person program, and that person not going to get in the way of your program. When you call and you need some help, that person gonna come help. You know what I mean? When they call you and they need some help, you're gonna come and help. You know what I mean? All the moments in your life when you got a real solid companion, that person is there all the time with no strings attached. But when you got a relationship, you got to rebuild. You got to adjust. You got to make this look this way. You got to make that look that way. You know what I mean? You got to be prepared for this. You got to be prepared for that. You know what I mean? So is the companionship sound dope as fuck to me, compared to a relationship when you got all this shit on your motherfucking plate and you trying to deal with all these things on your plate. And now it's like, yo, I got to go do this. I got to go do that. I got to move like this. I got to move like that type shit. I guess all in all, when it come down to it, for me personally, because I can't speak for everybody else, right? But all in all, when it come down to it, I feel like it's all about the person, right? It's all about the person. It's all about getting to know the person. It's all about understanding the person. It ain't about what a motherfucker got. Well, it is about what a motherfucker got, but it's about like a motherfucker just letting you know and having you understand a program. Have you understanding, you'll be able to understand what a motherfucker going through. You can talk to a person, you get to know a person, right? Sometimes motherfuckers be, when you got a companionship with somebody and you got love for them, sometimes motherfucker be fucking somebody else. But shit, that ain't really none of your business sometimes. You know what I mean? You just going through the motions of your life and you trying to figure your shit out. And the other person is on the other side looking in. You know what I mean? All right, you don't owe me shit, I don't owe you shit. I don't owe you shit, you don't owe me shit. But it's one of those things that you see from your perspective, so you just see it. So now you see how motherfucker moving with this situation. You see how motherfucker moving with that. But when you got a solid companionship with somebody, then you really like, all right. So you deciding if you're gonna either speak to that person no more, or if you see that shit for what it is, and you able to actually build something on the other side just as friends. And then on the back end of that, motherfucker might end up being in a relationship that lasts the next 40 years because you know everything about a motherfucker, right? Everything. You know everything. You know everything. I think a lot of times motherfuckers be scared to know everything. And I think that's why a lot of relationships don't be lasting, because motherfuckers be scared to know everything. Motherfuckers be scared to have every conversation that there is that need to be had. Motherfuckers is scared to like expose certain shit because they looking at a motherfucker. They worried about a motherfucker judging them. So they not gonna say the truth. They not gonna give you the truth. They not gonna put nothing on the floor. You got to deal with this shit from like a it's almost like a Damn, they're like a social media like understanding where it's kind of like, no, this is the way we do this. So if you want to do this the right way, you got to do it like this. You know what I mean? If you want to be happy, imagine you in a situation, right? And you talking to a motherfucker and they telling you, yo, you want to be happy with your man, then do this. He gonna like that shit. How the fuck you know that? You know what I mean? This is how you do. This is what you do. I watch a lot of these little shows on this motherfucker shit, on this social media shit, and a lot of people be giving people advice like, you don't know what's in that motherfucker heart. You don't know the people that the motherfuckers grew up with. You don't know what they grew around. You don't know what their institution is. You don't know what their belief in love is. You don't know what their belief in marriage is. You don't know what a motherfucker, but a motherfucker will point you into a situation and say, yo, if you doing this, you wrong, or if you doing this, you right. This is the only way your relationship is work. This is the only way this relationship is gonna go the way that it need to go. If you do these things, if you do those things, but then you dealing with a whole person. I suggest if you're going into a situation, well, if you continue to let a person be around you and you're really not feeling her or him, I think you're not being genuine nor honest with them if you know that you're really not feeling her or him like that. So why continue to have him or her around you for your own reasons? You got to cut shit off top if you're not feeling that person. That ain't always true though. I don't think you always got to cut shit off because you're not feeling somebody. Sometimes shit be happening the way it be happening. We live in a real world now. We live in a real world now. Some people like some people do their shit the way they do it. I think it's only fucked up if you lying. I think it's only fucked up if you lying. I don't think it's fucked up if you being honest. I don't think it's fucked up if you telling the motherfucker the truth and you actually fuck with somebody and they fuck with you on a certain level, but it ain't made it to that next point. Because why are people why are they rushing into the relationship? Why they not getting to know each other? You know what I mean? Because sometimes if you dealing with somebody that you really not feeling on that level and you letting them know that you're not really feeling them on that level, it's like a nigga say, nah, I ain't on that shit. I ain't on that shit. But if you really fuck with that person really fuck with you, and y'all still moving forward, and y'all still moving forward heavy, then clearly a motherfucker feels something. But y'all just working on. But if you working on a positive note and on an honest note, then you going forward. But if you saying yo just cut shit off, that's not really a real thing because people ain't just cutting shit off. You got to be able to hear a motherfucker tell you the truth and say the truth, and you got to be able to cut it off, right? Because that's you making your own read. That's you making your own decision, right? If a motherfucker tell you like I ain't feeling you like that, I ain't really on that, I ain't on all that shit, and then you keep coming around. How you mad at the other person if they keep opening the door? If you keep knocking, there got to be a level of self accountability because you can't blame the person that's opening the door and say they're the problem. Because if you constantly knocking on somebody's door and they ain't never knocking on your door, if you constantly calling somebody and they ain't never calling you, if it's constantly a one-sided situation, but you keep going and putting yourself in that situation, is the other person wrong? For real? Because it's kind of like you're doing it to yourself at that point, right? If how many times do you call a person and they never call you? They answer the phone when you call, but they don't never actually call you, or you know what I mean? How many times do you go around a person, but they never actually come around you? None of what you're giving is being reciprocated, but you keep giving. You can't be mad at a person if they keep taking. You can't because you giving a person a freebie. You know what I mean? You're giving a person a freebie. It's like we was talking about yesterday. You got to make the right read for your own life. You got to make the right decisions for your own life. Everybody got to make the right decisions for their own life. You can't hold other people accountable for. You can't hold a fuck nigga accountable when you see that he a fuck nigga. Right? A nigga can't hold a female accountable when you see she on some fuck shit. keep going and you keep going and you keep going and you keep bumping your head. 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 Now you walk into a wall 5 times. You got a big ass knot on your head. And you talk about, man, I hate this wall. No, just pick your goddamn head up and watch where you're going. That's it. Right? Pick your head up. Watch where you're going. You know what I mean? Because you can't let yourself get hurt because you chasing somebody that ain't chasing you. If that feeling ain't mutual and it ain't like a, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain that. I just feel like if you keep bumping your head into the wall, at some point you're gonna pick your head up and you're not gonna bump into that exact same wall. And if you keep bumping your head into that motherfucking wall to the point where your head is bleeding and your motherfucking head is spinning and now your head is leaking and you keep bumping into the wall and your head is leaking and you keep bumping into the wall and your head is leaking and now you got a motherfucking concussion and now you're going through a certain protocol and now you miserable in your life because you done walked into this wall 1,000 times. I don't think you could blame the other person. I don't think you can blame the wall. That's all I'm saying. I don't think you can blame the wall. Nikki, I'm over here rolling me a joint. I finna get high on anything. Bro, I'm about to get high. What is it? 7:51? What time I start? Like 7 something? I'm about to get high. Well, I just giving my opinion about the last night conversation and other conversations where we not really having conversations. You know what I mean? We're not really talking. We more or less debating about shit that we need to be having conversations about. And then the shit that we probably should be debating about. Then we having conversations. But I've been going back and forth through like both of the how far did they get to? How far did they get to when he decides to say, I'm not on there, and you already took them through there? Oh, that's kind of deep. So, morning shake. So if you take them through there, you got to be responsible for their feelings. If that's what's going on, if she going that motherfucking if she go in that room with old boy and he take her through there, or he go in the room with old girl and she take him through there, do he have to be responsible, or do she have to be responsible for the feelings that come with getting took through there? Because I don't know. I think with the relationship shit and with the way a lot of people deal with the relationship shit, a lot of people like fall for people that's not falling for them, and then they getting stuck into a situation and they not letting themselves out of it because they pointing the finger at the other person. Right? You done went in there and you didn't got took through that. Should have kept your goddamn clothes on. Kept your goddamn clothes on. You shouldn't let him take you through that. You know what I mean? He shouldn't have let her get him. Well, it don't matter with him because if she give him some, he gonna take it, right? He don't got the control that a woman got. You know what I mean? He don't got the control that a woman got at all. Like most men, right? And right, most men get into these situations. They going regardless. You know what I mean? I think females, if you got a if you can't handle it, because there's a lot of females that savages, right? There's a lot of females that can fuck you, fuck your partner, and fuck some more niggas all in the same week and be completely fine at the crib cooking for their babies and shit by the time Sunday come. You know what I mean? Is those females out there. But if you don't have control over your vitamin P to the point where it's easy for you to get took through there, you got to keep your clothes on, right? If it's easy for you to get took through there, you have to keep your clothes on, right? You have to make this nigga wait, right? You have to make this nigga see for you for who you really are. You don't even have no choice, right? You don't got no choice. If you one of those females that fall in love really easy, you have to, because what goes on with a man and his stick, right? The vitamin D situation, right? He don't feel what you feel when y'all having sex, right? This is something that we already talked about before, right? He don't feel what you feel when y'all having sex, right? That intimate moment. And here's the thing: if you doing it, he going. He going. Now, it's some dudes out here that's super duper good that'd be like, nah, baby, I'm just gonna wait until you ready. I'm gonna wait till you ready, baby. We ain't no. I'm gonna wait till you ready. Is you really ready? Because if you ain't really ready, I'm gonna put this shit up, and then I'm gonna wait on you, babe. I don't know how many of those niggas exist, but right? I don't know how many of them motherfuckers exist, but they out there. They gonna wait. They gonna wait. They gonna wait. But if you know for a fact that you can't control your emotions when they come down to it, and you easily get took through there, and you gonna fall down real easy, you gotta be control over the package. You gotta have control over the package. You can't give him control over the package because he gonna play with the bag because he don't know what he wants yet. See, they was arguing with me earlier, and they was cursing me out, and they was saying, "Well, nigga, what you want?" But I'm gonna tell you the truth, nigga. Don't know what the fuck he want yet, right? And then I get slapped in the face for the truth. I get yelled at for the truth. But the reality is, most of us, we self-aware enough to know that we don't really know what the fuck we want yet. We haven't passed that motherfucking goal yet because, and for me, what I want, if I knew what I want at this age, fucking 40 plus, I already have it. If I don't have it, that's because I'm not 100% sure what I want or how to get it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. If you making me want some shit, you know what I mean? I just can't wake up tomorrow and just decide, yo, this is what I want. Hell no. Because realistically, right? Women got the advantage in these conversations. Women got the advantage in the conversation. A woman just got to be able to have the conversation. She already got the advantage. Think about this, right? We chasing you. The average female ain't chasing no fucking man. Some females are like bold, you know what I mean? But the average female ain't chasing no fucking man. We chasing you. We trying to see what you got going on. We gonna show you all the shit that you want to see in order for us to get what we want from you, right? So we moving how you want us to move. We acting the way that you want us to act. Most men is like fucking puppy dogs. When we get to that female that we really like and that we really want, the average male, I don't give a fuck if he rich, I don't give a fuck if he poor. When he see that woman that he really want and she ain't going, that nigga turn to a puppy dog because he want that shit, right? He want it. He all up in the ass, you know what I mean? He asking those questions, you know what I mean? He won't take her out. She don't gotta ask him to take her on no motherfucking date. Hey, finna come and get you. What you doing? Hey, get up, put some clothes on. Let's go over here. Let's go do this. You know what I mean? He coming. He coming. All you got to do is show him that you ain't no motherfucking pussy, that you ain't on no bullshit. Really, I think. You know what I mean? But I think you got the control. I think the women got the control. Now, if you give up the control, you gave up the control. You gave up the control. And if you give up the control, that's on you though. That's on you. You can't blame him, right? If you give up the control before he find out who you really is as a person, right? Before he find out if he really fuck with you like that, if he find out that you really like a dope ass female, right? Before he find out all the things that he need to find out to know that you really worth it and that you really valuable, if you give up the control before then, you lose him. I'm just gonna tell you the truth, right? You lose him. You lose him because now he didn't got the package. He didn't got the pack. You fumbled. You fumbled. Average female, I'm just gonna tell y'all the truth on this shit, right? Because he really don't know what he want. So he have to find out like who you are, what you got going on. Are you worth it? We was having a conversation like, what if the vitamin P ain't really that good? Sometimes we don't really find out until we find out. So if you saving the vitamin P and a nigga's getting to know you as a person, a nigga can fall in love with you as a person before they even get the vitamin P, right? Then when they get the vitamin P, you know what I mean? The rush of who you are as a person, it could probably walk you through 3 or 4 years. Just being realistic, right? The rush of a man knowing who you are as a person and really falling in love with your character and your personality can get you probably 3 or 4 good years with bad vitamin P. 4 5 years maybe. Bad vitamin P, right? Because who you are is sometimes sex, the whole like stimulation and the whole arousing thing, sometimes it could just be the person that you having sex with. That could be the most arousing thing in the world, is the fucking woman that you having sex with, right? We don't really talk about these things, but fuck it, let's do, right? That sometimes the most arousing thing in the world is the woman that you having sex with, right? And a pussy ain't shit. Now the relationship is dwindling a little bit, you know what I mean? The honeymoon stages is fading away a little bit. And now a nigga like, yo, listen, we need to have a conversation, you know, about this vitamin P thing. You know what I mean? It was great at first, you know what I mean? But it kind of wasn't great. You know what I mean? You were great. Vitamin P, it was never really great. You know what I mean? You're great. Once your personality changed, realistically, right? When your personality changed and your character started to change, your vitamin P kind of changed a little bit, right? So now nigga got you in the room, or y'all going through what y'all going through, and the motherfuckers having a conversation with you. You know what I mean? Listen, shit ain't really hitting like it used to. You know what I mean? We headed into a brick wall. We headed to a brick wall. You know what I mean? I ain't getting, you know what I'm looking for. That's when the other conversation comes, right? That's when the real conversation going, right? So now we done left dating. We in a relationship, you know what I mean? We 3 or 4 years in, you know what I mean? The whole relationship is great, but this one thing is like, it's to change a little bit, right? So now what do we do? Oh, nigga, if you don't like it, then you can leave. Goodness gracious. Right? Because that's the conversation that we had not too long ago, right? It's like, yo, if you don't like this shit, then nigga, you can leave. Wait a minute. I'm not looking to fucking leave. This ain't why I'm asking you this question. Because theoretically, if I know that the what's on the float is leaving, 9 times out of 10, I'm not even finna ask you the question at all. I'm gonna lie and cheat, right? I'm gonna lie and cheat, right? I'm gonna get up in there for that little moment that you give me some, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna do my little shit, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then get my little rest or whatever. But I'm gonna make some more plays, you know what I mean? I'm gonna make myself happy because I know I don't want you to leave. And I don't understand what people don't understand about people being so in love with people, or people having so much love where they don't want to just end a relationship because there's a flaw in it. I don't understand that, right? Why do a nigga have to just leave, though? You know what I mean? Why can't somebody approach a situation, you have a conversation, and you try to build off that conversation, and you try to make it work? But it's like, no, nigga, I don't want to have that conversation. Nigga, you did this shit to me. You made this shit this way. You made that shit to me. What if old boy from the last relationship made that shit that way? What if the rush that I got sexually with you just came from you as a person? And now that I got you as a person, and I don't want you to go nowhere, and I don't want you to leave, now I'm at a point where I want to fix the flaw, right? This be the thing that happens in these podcasts, because we can't have the conversation. We can't tone that shit down and bring that shit down to where we can have the actual conversation, because we too busy yelling and screaming, right? Because, all right, you're great. You're a fucking awesome, right? And this relationship is dope as fuck. And then on top of that, right, you got family, you got kids involved, right? You got a house involved, right? You got all these things involved, right? And now 3 years in, I'm telling you, like, yo, that shit ain't really hitting like that. We need to fix it. And now you snapping, you mad, you cussing me out. How often are men actually having these lack of intimacy conversations with women, or are they more likely to just lie and cheat, continue to pretend in a relationship they really don't want to be in? That's a good question. So on the podcast last Monday, when we was having this conversation, and we said, when the conversation started, Glove was basically like, man, we don't really have these conversations because, you know what I mean, we already know what the result's gonna be, right? And we just assuming at that point, right? Now you got to think, right? We're not on the podcast with none of our women. We just on the podcast, like doing our podcast thing, right? So we just asking questions and throwing shit around. So he like, nah, most of the time we can't ask that question because women get into their feelings, they get on attack mode and they can't take it, right? And then they snap on us, right? So as we going through the conversation, you know what, bet, because we having a conversation now, let's add the question, right? So we start the question with from the man point of view, and as we go on, and the women are saying, hey, if you want to ask the question, then just ask. You know what I mean? Just ask the question, right? So then we ask the question. What happens? Explosion. Explosion. These not even our women, right? This is just a question on the podcast. When we ask the question, explosion. So to your question, Rosie, it's hard for a man to actually come ask the question because of the explosion that comes with it. So most men actually, I think you're right, just lie and cheat, right? But for the men that actually come and ask the question, explosion. The relationship fuck around ain't gonna end anyway. Because once that explosion come from the other, because once you approach it and the explosion come from the other side, then all you're gonna give back in return is another explosion. The relationship is damn near over. Mommy, where's daddy been? Right? He gone now. He gone now, and it's all his fault. So I think that's a good question because we never really got to actually have the conversation about this because it's like, yo, when we asked the question, the whole shit exploded. It became a debate and it became an argument. Well, this person saying this person saying that, and this person saying, fuck that, just leave. Right? Just leave. If what I got going on ain't good enough, just leave. The other person is saying, well, you know, it might be your fault why this shit is happening like this. You know what I mean? You probably did this to me, or you said that. You know what I mean? All right. The other person is saying, the best answer I thought that the person that came out was get some medical attention. But then Tianka, I think that's her name, Tianka came on today and she said couples therapy. Right? We so busy arguing that we never even came up with couples therapy type shit. Whole conversation about some shit, but so I mean, answer that question. In most cases, most men cheat because they can't ask that question. You know what I mean? That's tough. How do you know an explosion is going to happen when you haven't even spoken about it? I think so. I think throughout a relationship, sometimes you get to know a person, right? You get to know if you can talk about certain things, and you get to find out if you can't talk about certain things. So I just think you learn as you go with your lady if you can say certain things and if you can't say certain things. And as you go, because a lot of times, you know what I mean, you be talking to your lady or whatever, you talking to her from a friend to a relationship to possibly your wife, you know what I mean, however that shit might work, but you talking as you going. Some conversations stop because you can't talk no more. Because the deeper the relationship get, the less things that you can actually say to her because you're trying to protect her feelings and you're worried about how she gonna respond. I think that's how you know. I think that's how you know. From a man's point of view, how can women support and create a safe space for men to talk? Why are women exploding when confronted? I think because they can't control their feelings. Certain women. I'm not gonna say all women. I think some women is perfectly fine. I think some men have a perfectly fine space, safe space with a lady when it come down to it. I think it's just those certain women that you just know, like, man, I ain't finna fuck with her. We all got that female where you might come over your homie crib, you know what I mean? And he might be too loud. You remember Belly? And it's real though. Even though I'm using the movie, you know what I mean, for example, but it's real. Like, man, come on, man, be quiet, fool. Shorty up there sleeping, bro. She gonna go crazy. Some of us just had that female where we just know, like, nah, you just can't do it with her. You can't have certain conversations with her. You can't. It's not a safe space. It's not a safe space to talk to her. Like in real time, it's a lot of men. Like a lot of us, we don't talk to our females about vulnerable shit because we don't feel like it's a safe space to talk to that female about vulnerable shit. You know what I mean? It's just not there. Let's turn the tables. Let's turn the tables. Can a lady tell her man he ain't pleasing her? She losing interest. She not feeling him. How are men responding to them? Me personally, I'm trying to figure out how am I not achieving the goal, right? Because if I don't want to lose her, and she telling me like, nigga, this shit ain't working, we need to figure something out. I'm looking for the next play. I ain't gonna lie. I'm looking for how can I fix this shit? Not the next plate. I don't want to say it like that, right? I'm looking for how can I fix it? What's going on? What's wrong? What I'm doing wrong, right? Let's have a moment where we you know what I mean? We putting this shit on the table so I can get right to it, right? Because if she that woman for me, and I feel like yo, this not somebody that I want to lose. This not somebody that I can afford to lose. This not somebody that my heart can't just like accept losing. I'm going to work. I'm going to work. And I think most men in that situation with a female like that, I think they're going to work. I think most of the solid men in that situation, when they got a female that's real enough to approach him and say that shit, I think he's going to work. I can't say all because some niggas react like females. We in an era where a lot of these niggas act like females. So I can't say 100%. I can't speak 100% for most other men in this era. But I feel like, no, I feel like right now we just in a time where, I don't know. For me, I'm going to work. I'm going to fix it. Right? All right. But shit, I don't know. I don't know. I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. My first play is to fix it, right? Because if you the woman I need you to be, I'm fixing it, right? But we gotta get on the point. You know what, Rosie? What's your response, right? Give me if you got a few minutes, give me your response to a man asking you that question. What do you do? Tell me what do you do in that situation when a man is pulling up on you and asking you that question? What is your response as a woman? I want to know. I got a few minutes this morning. Yeah, Rosie. I don't know. I will say this though to this question right here, Rosie. Most of us, like older men in our age up here in these 40s and plus, who was raised around like the older men, like the 50s and the 60s, we was taught how to we was taught to stay even killed, right? We taught like being a provider and being a protector is it's not one thing. You know what I mean? You got to protect everything. We trying to protect our lady feelings, right? We trying to protect our lady emotions. You know what I mean? We trying to protect everything that's you know what I mean around our household and our kingdom. We trying to protect all that shit. You know what I mean? So in an event where it's something falling apart and you pulling up and you saying yo this shit falling apart, our first action is to fix it and keep our shit stable. You know what I mean? It's kind of like even in the streets when we was growing up, you know what I mean? And some shit happened, you know what I mean? And somebody get killed, right? The streets back then, everybody was reaching to stop the next murder, right? Motherfuckers wasn't get all antsy and saying, yo, let's go kill all of these niggas, you know what I mean? Let's go kill this innocent nigga who ain't got nothing to do with it. Niggas was trying to stop that shit because you know if the next murder happened, and I know this is kind of way off of the topic, but it's just the nature of a man growing up in our era, right? You know if you don't stop the next murder, then it's going to be another murder. And then you can't stop the next murder. Then it's going to be another murder. So part of the program that I was raised with, you know what I mean, around the men that I was raised around, is kind of like stop it before it get too bad. Because your emotions ain't finna make it better, right? How you feel and acting off how you feel is not finna make it better. You might feel less than a man, right? Please don't have a moment like this with me and then, you know what I mean, go and tell all your partners. Give me a chance to fix that shit first, right? Don't make me the motherfucking don't make me the dunce of your motherfucking circle. Don't make me the clown in your circle. If you come to me with this conversation, give me a chance to fix it before you actually break me down and make me look like the fucking clown and a motherfucking loser to the rest of the motherfucking world. You know what I mean? Give me a chance to fix it. Because growing up the way I grew up and being raised by the people that I was raised by, my first goal is to fix it in the best way that I can fix it. If I got to go cop some pills, nigga, if I got to go buy the motherfucking cops and motherfucking the Cowboys and Indians outfit, and we got to go we got to run around this bitch. I'm telling you, just give me the opportunity to fix it. Because if you that woman for me, then I ain't trying to let you go nowhere. I'm trying to fix the problem. So I need to know the other side of it though. I was just raised with that mentality to fix it. You know what I mean? Don't let this shit get too bad. Don't let the bleed, because if you let a motherfucker bleed out, then you know they gonna die. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. But yeah, you know what I mean? So, you know. But I'm still waiting on you, Rosie. Did you get up out of there? I'm still waiting on you to let me know how you gonna deal with this shit. I think that's a good question. I think we got so lost into the motherfucking explosion and the argument that we didn't even get a chance to actually like we never land planes on this show. This town business show, we don't never land planes. It's like we just motherfuckers is still flying right now. Motherfuckers is in the air right now, still flying. We don't never land no planes. You know what I mean? Because we don't ever come to no conclusions. We don't never come to no conclusion. We don't never fix it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Personally, I'm big on intimate expressing. I have to read it from over here because they ain't showing it all the way over there. Personally, I'm big on intimate expressing. I'm also a talker. So sharing my thoughts comes easy, especially when I feel loved and safe. I want to be in a relationship where we study and learn each other constantly and consistently. So yeah, I'm listening and ready to fix it. Respect is everything. How he coming matters. I'm still listen. Why you ain't come to the shit the other day? What? Where was you? Cause I sent you a link. I absolutely sent you a link because I feel like the other because sometimes they get so caught up into their bullshit, they just be tag teaming us and shit. But they be need somebody to say the real shit sometimes, man. They be need somebody to say the real shit, man, because they be bugging, bro. They nobody said this though. Then they be like, oh, y'all just mad because we ain't saying what y'all want us to say. Yeah, we mad because y'all ain't saying what we want us to say. Because if you in a relationship with a woman and you bring her to and you come to this motherfucking situation where you come to this halt, you don't want to hear arguing. You don't want to hear debate. You don't want to hear that it's your fault, and you don't want to hear motherfuckers say, "Well, nigga, just leave and go with another bitch." You don't want to hear none of that. That's the absolute truth. No man wants to hear none of that. The only reason why he coming to you and talking to you is because he want to hear you say this shit. Shakes, where was you at the other day, bro? Dang. Now Shay said it though. Shay said it. Shay said it. Tracy said it too. Them other ones, bro, they harsh on the nigga. You know why? You motherfuckers is harsh on the nigga, boy. But should I guess? I guess you know what I mean. I think ultimately, right, we got to stop fighting and having this motherfucking war, right? We can't keep fighting a war from the 60s. We can't keep fighting a war from the 70s. We can't keep fighting a war from the 80s and the 90s. When you find some motherfucking body, if they work for you, you know what I mean? I think you got to be honest and I think you got to work your way through it. That's what I think, right? I think nowadays, I think you absolutely, past 40 years old, us, I think you absolutely have to be like friends first so you can get into the motherfucking conversation and actually learn the person. Because when you learn people, man, it's when you learn people on an honest level, you have better relationships and not even intimate relationships, even with your homeboys. with your friends. You know what I mean? When you're hungry, when you honest and you solid and you real, man, it's easy as fuck to just pull up like, man, folks, this shit killing me. This shit killing me, man. What's going on with you, man? Man, I'm going through this. I'm going through that, man. Food, this, that, the third. You know what I mean? You can have real conversation, but it's the same way with our guys, though. Sometimes you be going through shit at home. All you got to talk to is your brothers. You know what I mean? Your guys, niggas who you grew up, your day ones. But sometimes you can't even talk to them niggas. You know what I mean? Because they be just like some of these females. You know what I mean? They blow up. You know what I mean? I ain't never going through that shit, nigga. You tripping, nigga. Leave that bitch alone, nigga. Why you even over there with that bitch? Wait a minute, brother. You know what I mean? I got some emotional shit that I got that I'm trying to deal with. Nigga, help me, motherfucker. Don't shit on me, nigga. Don't push me away. Now, there's one thing I personally agree with. Men and women point of views. We in this shit together. That's a fact. We in this shit together. We ain't got nothing but us. We ain't got nothing but us. We keep fighting. We ain't gonna have shit. The shit like I was looking at some stats, man. I wish I could pull that shit up. I'm gonna get to it though. But I'm looking at some stats and like the single parent household is getting like the percentage is getting higher and higher. It's not getting lower. It's not getting lower. A lot of motherfuckers like niggas ain't talking to each other. You know what I mean? When these women ain't talking to these men. These men ain't talking to these women. It's more cheaters right now than it's ever been probably. Well, it's less cheaters right now because right now it's more motherfuckers just leaving. I'm out of this shit. You know what I mean? It's more motherfuckers just walking away, going on to the next shit. And it's damn near cool now. Because now we got our women on a higher pedestal right now, right? Especially these badass black females, right? They on a whole nother level. They on a whole nother pedestal. They don't give a fuck at all. You know what I mean? So the moment as a female you show a nigga that you don't give a fuck, that nigga out, right? That nigga out. That nigga out. You don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck neither. That's how this shit work. That's how this shit work right now. But yeah, we in this shit together. We in this shit together. The only way we gonna win is if we win together. If we can't put it together and make it make sense, then we ain't gonna win this shit. We ain't gonna win this shit. Then we raising our kids, right? We motherfuckers is raising their kids alone, right? Old boy, all the way over there. It's another nigga in the house talking shit to another nigga baby. You know what I mean? Drinking a little nigga juice and shit. You know what I mean? Keep drinking my motherfucking baby juice, bitch ass nigga. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Niggas be having to go through it. You know what I mean? You can't even really say nothing. You can't even really have no solid conversations about this shit no more. You know what I mean? Because it just is what it is. Life shit suck, man. So if we talking about dating over 40, the one thing that I say, the first thing I say, right, before I get up out of here, the first thing I say, right, fix the shit. Fix the shit. Like, stop pointing fucking fingers. Like, if you got some shit going on at your house right now where you know you could possibly be wrong, sit down with that shit. Sit down with it. Have a conversation with yourself. I don't think there's nothing wrong with talking to. I be talking to myself. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Judge me however motherfucker want to judge me. You know, sometimes you got to sit down and talk to yourself and have a conversation with yourself and try to figure out the answer, right? As a female, I think you got to be able to talk to yourself and try to figure out the answer before you approach the conversation. As a man, I feel like you got to be able to talk to yourself and try to, you know what I mean, figure out the answer before you approach the conversation. Because sometimes it don't really matter how you approach the conversation. It's just like some people have a feeling about it. Because I think it's hurtful to a man when a woman say that he not pleasing her. That's like putting a knife in a nigga's stomach, right? But I think for me, and I think for a lot of other men, and I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of other men is like, yo, I'm finna get to this shit and fix it. Because it's a certain pride that, for me, right? It's a certain pride that I got when I overcome shit. It's some shit that's just in my nature. It's in my genes. I don't know where that shit come from. But it's a certain level of something that just like, it's overwhelming in my heart when I overcome some shit. Right when I'm falling or when I'm going through the worst shit in my life, man, and I figure that shit out, put that shit together, and I come back and I make that comeback. Woo, that's the best thing in the world. Now imagine being in a relationship with a female and the sex is falling off. You know what I mean? Because we always say the sex don't mean, but the sex mean a lot, right? And she come to you and say, man, this shit ain't working. You know what I mean? We need to do this and we need to do that. And then you stop instead of letting that shit like gut check you. And you just think about it, you put some thought into it, you start to rebuild on it. Okay, so what exactly am I missing? What can I do to make this shit better? How can I do it? well, you need to do this and you need to do that. You need to think about this and you need to be thinking about that. Or we could do this or we could do that. Whatever options you got, you know what I mean? You put it on the floor. Then I go do that shit. You know what I mean? And then that shit started working because I know, right, in my mind, and I could be absolutely wrong, right? But in my mind, I think if my lady come to me and say, we need to do this and we need to do that to fix this, and I go do that shit, right? I go do that shit, right? I'm looking into exactly what she's saying, right? And I'm looking into that, and I'm looking to do this, and I'm looking to do that. I think for one, I think that's a turn on for her right there, right? So that's automatically a level of stimulation, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, right? Just listening to what she's saying and then taking that action, I think that adds a level of stimulation, right? And then when I go into it and I actually achieve that goal and I come back, you know what I mean? I'm running around that bitch on some Cowboys and Indian, and I got wood across the goddamn street, you know what I mean? And we get into it and that shit work to add on to the conversation going well. Okay, the conversation going well, that boosts the stimulation, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. The conversation going well boosts the stimulation, right? Then after the conversation going well and actually putting in the work and doing what she asking me to do, that boosts the stimulation, right? And then I do what she asked me to do, or I make the attempt to do what she asked me to do to get the shit together, even though I might do some of my own shit and I might put some of my own plays in it, but I'm taking the action. I'm showing her that I'm taking the action, boosts the stimulation a little bit. And then I come back, nigga, and I got and we ran this bitch, we going crazy. I got wood across the street. The stimulation is built up just for actually being compliant in a situation where I'm failing. And I know I'm failing. I see I'm failing. She approaching me. She letting me know I'm failing. So I go do the work to bring myself back because she worked that shit. I think all that shit adds on to the stimulation. So once I get back in there now, woo, it's up. It's up. That shit crazy. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, because this ain't something that somebody else telling me, right? This ain't an argument I'm having, right? Tell me if I'm wrong for that. Anybody that's listening. I see a couple. I see two. I see a number 2 on there. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, right? Because, and I also feel like it works the other way around, right? I feel like it boosts the stimulation. Like if I take that conversation to my lady, and first of all, the conversation go well, oh shit. And then after the conversation go well, she actually take the steps. She actually do this shit. Like, well, baby, I'm looking into doing this. So I call this person, I call that person, and you know what I mean? I'm doing this. So you know what I mean? Oh shit. Then she do that shit, and then all of a sudden she pop back up with a glove. She come back with a glove. They got you sliding out that motherfucker like, no. Wait a minute. Wait a motherfucking minute. Where you get this from? Listen, man. I just think all that shit boosts this. It boosts the shit up. You know what I mean? Just being able to have a conversation, be compliant, be respectful, be honorable, you know what I mean? And do what you got to do to make your motherfucking relationship get bigger and get better and get stronger. I think that all boosts the shit up to another level type shit, right? And maybe I'm wrong to some people, you know, but to me, I think that boosts the shit up. And if you can avoid the argument and go through that process, I think that makes your shit stronger, because guess what? The baby ain't asking with daddy yet. You know what I mean? Baby jumping up in the middle of the bed, waking the nigga up type shit. Get your little badass out my motherfucking bed, nigga. What the fuck is you doing? You know what I mean? Good morning, Tony Romo. Diane, what up, Diane? Tony Romo, number 9. I'm definitely from the 9 too. But all right, man. I think I'm finna click out, man, and fuck with this little joint I got if I ever get it rolled. I think I got it together. Man. I had intended on coming on here. Man, ain't nobody answering. Ain't nobody pressing the button and giving me the and letting me know, man. That's crazy. That's right. So am I wrong? Do that mean I'm wrong because nobody responded? Do that mean I'm wrong, man? Somebody gotta talk to me now, because do that mean I'm wrong? Maybe the conversation is just a thing or whatever. I don't know. Because I want to feel like I'm right. I be always thinking I be knowing everything type shit. But I be want to feel like I'm right. Okay, okay. Somebody said I'm not wrong. Somebody said I'm not wrong. Diane said I'm not wrong. Let me post this up. Let me post this up. Diane said I'm not wrong. Shout out Diane. No, I ain't wrong. Type of shit. All right, man. I'm getting ready to wrap this up. It was fun this morning. I just wanted to recap a little bit, man, and hopefully I can, you know what I mean, tame the conversation a little bit, man. When we do a little bit of a when we go back into some of these conversations, man, I hope I can slow them down a little bit because next time I'm pressing mute. Next time I'm pressing mute, I ain't gonna lie. But before I go, man, I want to first, right? But I was on that talking shit to homie, bro. But for everybody who know on me, no harm towards my homie when I be talking shit, not saying what I saying, you know what I mean? I don't, that's how we talk to each other. So I hope motherfuckers ain't taking that shit the wrong way. You know what I mean? Probably not something I should be saying on the internet because motherfuckers on the internet hear you say shit and they, you know what I mean? They make it be something that it ain't. You know what I mean? But that's my bro. For anybody who don't know, you know what I mean? I ain't calling folks no bitch ass nigga because I don't think folks no bitch ass nigga. That's my motherfucking nigga. You know what I mean? And I know the internet don't hit shit the way it be. So just to say that. But shout out to yesterday, Tianka, 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 she was saying some real shit. You know what I mean? And we definitely want to get her on the motherfucking the freedom report because she be on that mental health shit. And I want to hear some of that shit outside of the relationship shit. I want to hear some of that shit. I want to hear what she know outside of the relationship shit. So I'm finna start the process of putting together a topic for tomorrow because I want to own that shit. You know what I mean? Shout out to Tracy. So with Tracy, right? I want to say this right to Tracy, right? Tracy do be real with that shit, right? Even though this is what I like about both of them, right? When it's real, they just be like, that shit is what it is, but so what? I respect that, right? I respect when you can say, you right, but I don't give a fuck. I respect that, man. I respect that. I ain't gonna lie, man. You right, but I don't give a fuck because this where I'm at with my shit, right? I don't really respect somebody telling you wrong when they know you right in some situations, right? I don't respect that. I don't respect that, man. I don't respect the judgmental. I don't respect the judgmental shit. You know what I mean? I don't respect the because sometimes when you having a conversation and we having these kind of conversations, you got to actually be able to listen. Because most of what I'm saying right now, I was saying yesterday, is just like you just can't get the shit off because we going through our little gauntlet. You know what I mean? But like when the shit be real, just let the shit be real, bro. Let the real part of it be real, right? And then let's just go on to the next thing so we can continue on to the conversation. You know what I mean? Shout out to Muffin, shout out to Nikita, shout out to Netta. Netta, my dog, man. She always like Netta, my dog, man. That's my G, man. That's my G. I ain't gonna lie, man. That's my dog, man. Cause Netta be on that bullshit, man. But one thing about Netta, when she don't got the answer, and I respect the hell out of this, right? About my kid, right? But she don't got the answer. She don't be jumping in that motherfucker trying to get no answers. I has to say right there and listen and don't say nothing. If she ain't got it, she ain't got it. I respect the hell out of that, right? You know what I mean? And then when she got it, she got it. When she own. You know what I mean? These are opinions, man. She writes her opinions, and everybody write to their opinions, man. Everybody writes their opinions, man. Muffin got a big ass personality. I like the big ass personality that you know what I mean. Muffin bring to the shit. But I don't think Muffin really be listening. You know what I mean? I think she got a big ass personality, but I don't think she be listening to the shit I be saying. I think she judging it too much and not listening. But you know, we gonna ride through that. You know what I mean? Nikki don't be never saying nothing. You know what I mean? Glove, man. That's my dog. Glove, my dog, man. He keep this shit. He keep this shit gangster. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I don't be getting fuck about that shit. But Glove keep that shit G, man. And we be needing that. That's my dog. You know what I mean? We be needing that. Shout out to my homie Richie. I gotta do all this, man, cause I can't say something about one person, don't say nothing about nobody else. But I ain't gonna lie, you know what I mean? Richie, my dog, man. I feel like Richie was supposed to be on the episode yesterday. There's no way I did that episode yesterday without Richie, man. That just seemed foul to me. I ain't gonna lie, that just seemed foul to me not having Richie on that episode because that's Richie episode. For some of y'all who don't know, we did this episode before. Me, Lareal, Netta, Richie, and Shaw. We did this. We had this coming. It went a lot different. Clearly, you know what I mean. And we agreed to disagree on some things. But this episode was for Richie, man. I'm mad I ain't called Richie, man. Richie, my dog, man. Shaw, my dog. You know what I mean. They've been in this shit with me, man. They've been riding this shit with me. They deal with my shit. You know what I mean. I just want to say shout out to everybody. And as of late, man, we've been putting out a lot of clips. We've been getting a whole lot of motherfucking views, you know what I mean? And I could just feel the energy of this shit shifting, you know what I mean? So shout out to everybody that's been in this shit fucking with me, man. And we gonna get this bag, though. You know what I mean? We definitely gonna get this bag. We gonna keep working, man, and keep looking for it. Remember, do this a little bit more, too, man. Just come out on the morning sometime and give my morning measure. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing from here on out. I'm gonna start coming out, giving my morning measure. You know what I mean? Breaking this shit down, breaking down, you know what I mean, what the day looked like and how it feel for me, you know what I mean? So shout out to everybody, man. Much love to everybody, man. I'm out of here.